I feel very strongly about imposter syndrome and how stupid it is. Sometimes you cannot manifest your next thing being tethered to something that looks good, but is not going to get you to where you need to go next.
When I have space, previous versions of me felt lazy.
Guys, we got to stay long after the energy's gone. And I think for idea people, that's the hardest part.
I guarantee that any post or podcast that has impacted someone in the room the most is something that we overthought. Because it was a little bit more emotional or a little bit more vulnerable than we would have normally shared.
There's the parts of my life that will come with ease. And then there's parts that I may look back on this in a year and say this was wrong, but that you do have to full throttle go and fucking force.
The number one regret that I have, is that
Okay, so does anybody have a question? Nothing is off limits. We'll tell you, we'll shame you deeply if it is. I'm joking, I'm kidding. Nothing is off limits at all.
And we have 2 mic runners. So what we're gonna do is we'll call on you, have you stand up in the mic. You'll just say who you are, just like not long, but just share like what your business is. You'll get a little shout out on the podcast. And then the next thing out of your mouth should be, my question is, just so we can keep it super concise. And then if we want to ask for other background information in order to give you the best answer possible, we will do that. So who wants to go first? Jocelyn Freeman!
Your biggest fan, both of you, been listening to your podcast since day one.
Your podcast was one of my faves. I loved it. It was so fun.
But truly, so grateful for you both. Okay, Jocelyn Freeman. Hi, everyone. My husband and I run one of the largest marriage coaching brands in the world. So my question to you is, how do you maintain trust in the timing of things manifesting?
I don't. Constantly overthink it.
Trust no one. Do you have something?
Okay, I actually do think this is a strength of mine. I am endlessly patient. I really am. And I think what helps me is that I truly enjoy the journey of getting there. And I think that's the part that we often overlook, is if we can have more fun, if we can bring more joy, if we can even find little ways to acknowledge ourselves in the journey of becoming the person who's ready to hold the manifestation, by the time it gets here, it lands in my nervous system kind of like, that was kind of cool. And I realize like that's the energy that I'm actually looking for. Because if I don't get too high on the highs, then I don't get too low on the lows. So my best advice would be in the daily practice of finding the little moments of joy, the little glimmers. A glimmer is like the opposite of a trigger. It's like that little spark of something to celebrate. And you and Erin do this really well together, but something that you can anchor in the fact that the becoming is the actual manifestation. And if we wait and we only celebrate when we're there, when we're at the end goal, we actually miss the part that was the becoming, the part that was the magic in the first place. And it's something I think I actually am really good at, where, again, I think I get too comfortable in doing the work of becoming that I sometimes can slow myself down.
I love that. Okay, so that simultaneous too, I feel like there is a point so where I'm at right now in my career is like I've kind of gotten some great battle wounds, and I kind of feel like, okay, whatever comes, I'm kind of prepared for it. Like I feel like there's definitely stuff that will rock me. Trust me, I'll get very rocked. And I know that there will be things in the future that will really rock me, because as you grow, the problems get bigger, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now,
boring.
With all of that boring stuff said, I will say I'm at a point where I'm like, I think I need to go and just create that thing. I'm not doing enough. And I will say, I'm not saying you guys are not doing enough. I'm using myself, for example, where I'm thinking of like, okay, I'm a manifesting generator. I should just literally wait for things to come to me. There's that side of me where I'm like, picture it and it comes. And it does. I literally have things where a woman moved in 4 blocks away from me, who's the president of a giant company right now that everybody knows the name. And we're walking together in the mornings and she can totally help mentor me. That came into my life very easily, right? Now, there's other things where I'm going to have to go and work really, really hard to go get the thing I want. So I have to acknowledge that there's the parts of my life that will come with ease. And then there's parts that I may look back on this in a year and say this was wrong, but that you do have to full throttle go and fucking force. Like, you're going to have to go and just push as hard as you can. And it's going to be your rocket ship moment. And I talk about this a lot. But when you are trying to break through a new level of yourself in a new atmosphere, I think there's simultaneous of ease. Like, if you actually think how a rocket ship works, like, they're going up in space, they use, I believe it's 90% of their fuel to break through the atmosphere. And so while there's so much force happening, what's also happening inside? They're like floating, like they're starting to float. So I think that when I look at both things, it's like the force and the ease all at once. So I'm looking at the parts of my life that I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's like coming in. I'm doing really good at manifesting. And also, yeah, these people don't know who I am and they don't know how good this product is. And I have to advocate so hard and I'm gonna have to fight for this. And I'm gonna go need to raise more money. And I need to hire a president. And I need to prove to them why this is the best company for them to come to. And I have to go get in front of the people, and a lot of them. And like, I need to go and work really, really hard to make sure that whatever it is that I want is going to be seen out there. I think of that even with my book. Like, there was no amount of sitting and manifesting that could have gotten me what happened with that book, or the amount of like what the full throttle being on tours and writing the articles and being up, half the night, like that changed my whole career. Like, that single moment like changed my whole career. So I think that there's trust, but also asking trust if you're holding up the other half of the bargain of, am I breaking through the atmosphere? Because I even see you guys, and you've like broken through in a big way, but there might be another portion, and I don't even know what this is pertaining to. So this might not be you at all. So it's kind of talking to the room of like, where is it that you're not breaking through, that you might actually, on the other side of a summit is what? Another summit. So that you might actually be facing another summit while things are actually easy for you now, right? Social media, it's pretty easy for you now. You've built a huge audience, but where's the next summit that you might be like, oh, I thought that if I got to this summit, this would be easier. And you're having your oh shit moment of like, I actually just summited to realize the next summit is even bigger, except that one prepared me for this one. It's because I'm in it with you. I'm legitimately it with you right now.
So good. I love that. Such a great question.
Yeah, great question.
Okay, who's next? Not all at once, ladies. Okay, we're going to come behind and then up to Tracy afterward. Right here.
Hi, my name is Rachel Johnston, and I lead a team of business bankers for one of the largest financial institutions. Lindsey, my question is for you. You mentioned that you're a logical person and you suppress your creativity often. So for those that are also very logical, what first steps would you recommend to help explore that and nurture that creativity?
Gosh, I would love to put this in a spreadsheet for you. I really would. So
I think she would love that too, actually.
Here's my logical answer. Step one.
This is where I get lost.
And here's what I also want to say. The logic really serves me. And it's so natural that I don't have to force it. So knowing that the logic will always be there to back me up, like the moment I'll sit in the morning. So here's a couple of practical things that I have been doing. It's not like so much a step 1, 2, and 3, creating a lot of space, which is uncomfortable because when I have space, previous versions of me felt lazy, felt like stillness is laziness. But stillness is where I have space to allow my really creative thoughts to come. It's where so what that practically looks like right now is I don't really start my morning until 8 a.m. A couple days a week. I'll go and do my workout. The other 2 days a week, I just let myself kind of free flow for the first few hours because my highest point of creativity is right away in the morning. I have my highest energy, my highest creative energy. And so I don't prioritize anyone else before 10, 11 a.m. I give myself so much space to either write or journal, or right now I'm actually gonna do a whole episode on this, so we're not gonna go super deep into it, but using ChatGPT prompting it to act as my higher self, and I'll journal, and then I'll put my journal entry into ChatGPT and say, act as my higher self and give me 3 reflective questions one at a time to reveal where I'm still hiding from myself. Don't do that unless you want your life fucked up. Okay, I have a whole episode that I'm gonna do on that, but for me, that's like using my creativity as an outlet to tap into layers of myself that aren't, if I don't have space to allow that stuff to flow, I can default too much to the logical, here's what needs to be done. So creating space in my day, and I would say just wherever for you notice that your creative energy is highest. Second thing is, again, this is just personal to me, but I would just encourage you to tap into what your version of this is. I've been thinking back to what did creativity look like for me as a kid? And I used to love to make art. Like I was so creative. The shit I did as like a 3rd grader, I don't think I could do today. Like I remember vividly certain art projects. And so prioritizing making art. So I got this like adult paint by numbers because I'm not an artist. Let's just be honest here. Like I'm not like gonna find out that well, maybe we won't. Okay. I have not to this point found out that I mean, who knows? But I found this paint by numbers, company. And so I like will sit in the evenings, and I live alone and I am not dating. So I will sit and just like paint and allow myself to have those more, what I think it is it's like some kind of way of expressing myself, tapping into a different part of my brain. The other thing that does that for me is dance. So like creatively expressing with my body. So I've found things that just bring a different energy into my being than my logical brain can bring. And again, none of this is to override the logic. The logic serves me. And the moment that, like the other day, I was having this jam session with ChatGPT and I was like, oh my God, I know what I'm supposed to do next. And then I went into the logical laying out of the steps that I'm going to do to bring that thing to life. But the more I tried to have the logic be the basis of giving me the next steps, the logic is not where the next steps lie. The creativity is. So if you have the logic already, that's such a beautiful thing. Like so many people, like so many entrepreneurs would kill to have that very logical brain that understands how to organize things. If you don't worry, you can hire someone to do that. But for you, it's going to be finding things that it just feels like resonant in my soul. Like my soul knows how to do this thing. It's almost like tapping into another language I forgot I knew how to speak. And it takes effort because it doesn't feel like that fits into my productive schedule. So I'm only going to give you 2 because those 2 things have served me really well in this season. And then I still have this very logical, organized, I'm a Capricorn, like I have Virgo in my like whatever the hell means about your work life, like meaning I'm very organized, like very structured. So I can lean so far into creativity and I never lose the logic part. Does that help? Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's such a great question. We're going to come to Tracy next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tracy Matthews. Let me do that. Anyway,
what do you do, Tracy Matthews?
I help female creatives, who are in a pivot, who are rebranding and reinventing their businesses, step into their next chapter. My question for you is, when you have a really big vision and you know that you're meant for something so much bigger than where you are, and you've kind of outgrown your audience and you're ready for the next stage, how do you stay focused on that vision when it feels like everything is coming at you like 24/7 and not stopping and you're getting derailed?
And you mean like everything from your previous business?
Everything,
like
just like
that still
everything.
need you?
It's like
Got
life and business and like trying to keep it all together to get to that next level.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I can speak to this so much right now because you have to find space somewhere. So your whole life, this might take 3 months, 6 months, or a year. For me, it took a year. So I had to find space for the tasks that I knew I needed to do to go to the next level. Whether that's creative days for whatever you need, or I'm not sure what it is, but you need space for what it is. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, but there's no space because everything is coming at you from all of the other things. So your whole goal is to figure out, do you need a VA? Do you need more structure in your day? Do you need to get rid of something? Can you actually get rid of something right now? Even if it is income producing, you might have to like maybe get rid of the thing that's the least income producing just to put a little more time in the thing that is more income producing. Like get really clear on, it's hard to, throughout my journey, I think one of the most surprising things for people, my husband, was getting rid of income sources that were doing pretty well because I was so overwhelmed knowing that I wanted to get to the next level, going from fitness and having fitness memberships and a gym and doing some other things at the same time, to wanting to be in personal development, to wanting to write a book, to saying, hey, I'm going to shut down a fitness membership that's doing this amount of money. And him going, I don't understand. I don't understand why. Why would you ever shut this money down? And I was like, because I have to make space. And energetically, it's funny because it didn't take up that much time, but energetically it took up so much space for me that it was, oh, this goes into what we actually talked about that back there about manifesting, is we said, sometimes you cannot manifest your next thing being tethered to something that looks good, but is not going to get you to where you need to go next. And, for me, fitness was a big tether. As I was growing into personal development, I worked so hard to become well-known in the fitness space, you guys. And a lot of you who had corporate jobs or different jobs, you worked so hard for that there's this middle space where you're not really special. Nobody knows you in the next world. Nobody goes, where's your credibility? You don't have it yet. So guess what we do? We go back to the busy, we go back to the thing, we go back to the full schedule, we go back to the place we're credible. I kept going back over and over. I probably got 2 of those covers going back because I kept distracting myself going, I need a hit. I did. And I'm being so honest. I need people to say how awesome I am. I need people to see I could still do this. Oh, I'm not really relevant right now. Let me go get another cover. Guess what it did every time I went to go get one? It took me like 6 months out of my life. It took 6, because you're like trying to get it. You're working out for it. You're
so
pitching
much kale.
So much fucking kale, you guys. Literally, so much gas. I would always say kale is your colon's toothbrush. It really is. It just goes down, scrubs all the way down. But you might be tethered to something right now. We're being serious.
You might need a good scrub down.
You might be tethered, like going back and going, what am I tethered to that's actually, making me feel good right now because I'm busy, I'm needed. And it is the worst feeling, creating space. Because right now, I'm doing something like creating space for content because Glōci needs me to create content. So here I am at 44 years old, needing to be full force influencer again and create content. So what I'm scared of and what I'm confronting in myself is I create the space, and then when the space comes, it's the hardest, worst space of my life. Like it's yes, exactly.
And you like, freak out and you fill it with something.
What do? I'm not good at this. Like that's what's coming in that space for me. So then I can kind of like go and fill it with things that feel productive, but not the highest needle moving things for my next level or my future whatever, or bringing in the most income. And so that's your job, is like trying to figure out how to create that space while simultaneously making plans to figure out how you're going to learn that new skill set for the thing that's going to get you to that next level.
It's just confirmation of everything that I'm doing. So it's just so
scary
great because there's like that, what do they call
hold on. Let's get you a mic if you're going to drop wisdom on us.
Dropping wisdom.
In that To Be Magnetic program, they talk about it as the magic dark, like the period before the big shift. And it's so scary because you feel like every single day you're just like, is this going to work? I don't know.
You're flailing. You're falling backwards sometimes for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, depending on how big your goal is. There's like a whole version of skill sets that you have to learn. And it's flailing. It's like such a horrible trust fall. I'm in it. I'm literally in it with you. So but that space is super important for you.
I love that question.
I'm excited for you.
Okay, great. Dealer's choice.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
My name is Kirsten Anderson. I'm an esthetician. I own an aesthetic studio here in Arcadia. And my question's actually good on the tail end of this question. When you are expanding and you are brand new to hiring a team, could you talk me through the basics of really just getting started? I do have an executive assistant who's amazing. I've just brought on my first esthetician, but the growth that I'm experiencing right now, I feel like I do need to start thinking about what a team looks like, and I have no idea how to do it. So that's my question.
I mean, for this, in all honesty, I had no idea how to hire a team, so I went and got help. I literally would go to somebody who is a recruiter or a fractional recruiter, because it depends on how much time you have. What are you doing in the business? Where is most of your time being spent right now?
In the treatment room.
In the treatment room.
Yeah, and I've brought on my first esthetician so that I can take 2 days a week that I previously was doing in the treatment room to work on the business now.
Okay. And you're saying your biggest struggle is hiring team, like trying to figure that out?
I know that I need help, especially because I have 2 toddlers at home.
Yep.
And so I really need to be able to expand my time, and it's very limited after 3 or 4 p.m. most days.
How many people do you need?
I need help with marketing. So I need help with social media and kind of the aesthetic of my brand and getting more content out for sure. I feel like I'm spinning my wheels on that because I'm just so exhausted at the end of the day after being in the treatment room with like 7 clients packed into one day.
Yeah.
So I think that would be my first big thing that I need help with, but it's pretty scary to like put money in social media with no guarantee for what you're going to get back.
Yeah. Do you have anything on this too?
I feel like it's business dependent. I don't necessarily know, unless social media is like your number one driver for bringing in new clients.
It's not.
Okay.
Just like here's what I would say. That's not where I would put my money.
I wouldn't either.
I would spend 1 hour a week and give yourself only an hour, plan out all your content for the week and have someone else on your team post it.
Yep.
Yeah.
You could just do that. So I know it feels so overwhelming to like, I got to do all these things, but I would zero into like what's the strategic hire that's going to drive more revenue in the business. That's bringing in more practitioners.
Okay.
Right.
Do you guys ever not ignore, but do you ever put social media kind of on the back burner?
Totally.
Yes,
Really
all the
not-
time.
Okay.
Right now.
Okay.
I literally just got really
Natalie.
lucky because no, it's the first thing that goes on the back burner because you can't measure the ROI of it.
Right.
You can't.
And I think that's why I've struggled to invest time in it. I'm part of BNI. You mentioned that earlier. It has like quadrupled my business. It's been extremely successful for me.
Great. So that's a great return on your investment of time.
1,000%.
Yep.
Yeah.
As long as you have a social media presence where potential clients can come and see, oh, here's kind of what she's about. Oh, her booking link is for a business like yours, you do not need to be posting consistent content daily. I don't
just really freed up a load.
Great. Look at that.
Oh
You're welcome, lady.
Yeah, and just like honestly, what she said, just having a presence at all, snap some beautiful photos of products or your lobby or whatever. Like, it should not be taking you more than an hour to keep up with social of just like the basic needs of social.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Until you have a strategic plan to like make money with social, it's the thing that goes first for us. Like when we're in a oh shit moment, social is like,
that's how I feel.
bye.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would focus it on educational content. So like thinking through what I would be looking for if I'm coming to an esthetician's page. It's like if I'm curious about microneedling, can you do like a little series about who's microneedling for, and like just drip this content out over time. But your page should really be educational more than anything. And it doesn't have to be super like consistent, as long as when I go to your page, I can find the information I need and how to book with you.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
If social, like for personal brands, you guys, that might be a totally different answer because if social is your only way of creating income, and you know if you put a day into a reel that you've got a great ManyChat that's going to get them in a funnel that's going to eventually sell, then I would say, no, you need to clear everything off your plate to make sure that you are doing that thing that brought you that income. But if you know how to do it in a different way, the key is to find the way that brings the income in and double down on that.
Okay, cool.
Yep. Then when it feels good for a hire, when you're just like rolling in the dough ski, then you then that's when you can do that social media.
I just had I'm just dating myself. Donald Duck swimming in his million in his coins.
Oh, I watched that.
Wow, I'm the oldest person in this room. Thank you so much.
I almost did his voice.
Don't leave me hanging.
Scrooge. Oh. DuckTales.
Yeah. DuckTales. Woo.
Duck.
Anyway, next question.
Thanks. I almost did the voice for a while. You're like, don't.
I'm Lindsey too.
Hi, Lindsey too.
Hello. I actually do social media management and content creation for small businesses.
Love that.
Amazing.
My question is though, so I was actually somebody that made a big career change, and I've made some big strides with this, but what is your advice for like imposter syndrome?
Just welcome her to the chat.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel very strongly about imposter syndrome and how stupid it is. The reason for that is if you have a goal, you should feel like an imposter because you're not them yet. So your goal is not big enough if you don't have to learn a new skill set that you don't know yet, which should make you feel like an imposter and should make you feel dumb. So you don't get to grow if you don't feel that way. So I don't look at it as like, oh my gosh, this feels terrible, I don't belong here. I'm like, oh, this is how I meet myself. So I'm not saying it's dumb. We all feel it. I hate the name because of course that's like a kid looking at a bike being like, I can't ride it. I feel like such an imposter. I was supposed to come out of the womb understanding how to ride this bike. Like that's how dumb it is. Do you know what I'm saying? Like we're looking at something going, oh, so you want to learn social media? This would be like you telling your client, like, you should feel really fucking dumb. Like, I don't get why you don't know it. Because you never learned it. Like it makes zero sense. It's so much better to just go, oh, that's not my skill set. Here's what my skills. I think it feels amplified when we don't remember what our skill set is, like what we're good at. Oh, here's what I'm really good at, and here's who I need to surround myself with, and here's what I need to learn. And so the second you stop like needing those skill sets and needing to learn, like you don't get to meet yourself. You stop growing, you become stagnant. So we should feel like imposters literally every day. Like I feel like an imposter every day, but I can't even use that word anymore because I'm just like, oh my God, I feel like I never know what I'm doing. I feel like I never get a break. I feel like, but then I go, oh, but last year I couldn't sit at a table with all of these guys and actually go word for word on like talking about raising money. Like, whoa, look how far I've come. This is incredible. So I think whenever you feel that way, go, whoa, I've come really far. And also you need to make sure you feel that way. Like it's vital. And like, I can't even tell you how vital it is. It's the most important thing that you do every day. Yeah, I hope that helps. I feel like that was harsh, but
No, love it.
great.
And then on like just a practical level, because essentially all it is you're feeling a gap between who you are now and who you're going to step into being, is like practically a lot of the tools that I'm using right now is like sitting with myself, like one hand on my chest, one hand on my stomach. And when I feel that intensity rising up, because what it feels like it's unsafe, right? So as I just repeat to myself over and over, like, it's safe, you're just growing. Like retraining in my mind what my brain is taking with that physical sensation that is growth, and rewiring like, no, this is safe. Yeah, you can totally step into this feeling, lean into it more. And I feel like that, and then realizing that if we can fall in love with that feeling, you are going to be so fucking unstoppable. Yeah.
And I want you guys all to think about like what's on the other side of not feeling that way. There's an equally opposing, actually I think it's a lot bigger, opposing emotion to imposter syndrome. At least if you're having imposter syndrome, it means you're going for your thing. Like you're putting yourself in that space. So it's actually really magical, because the opposite feeling of imposter syndrome is, you know, I'm a loser. I'm not trying it. I'm not going for it. I'm upset with myself because I know who I could be. This is only if you feel that way, if you only feel the call of who you could be and you're not that person yet. So I think imposter syndrome is just like the coolest sign from the universe that you're going in the right direction.
So good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Feel
that's
that.
awesome.
Did Madison have her hand up?
Hello, my name's Madison. I am a money coach for women. My question is, I have 1,000,001 ideas. Like so many things I want to bring into the world. There's just like such a big vision. How do you prioritize when you're starting out and wanting to balance that needing to move fast on the idea to keep the energy and the vibe alive, with needing to be practical and strategic about keeping revenue up and like not getting distracted by things, but also like wanting to work on all of the things at one time.
Okay, this is my intuitive answer for my starting answer, and then we'll give you some more practical, how do you start to weed out? It doesn't matter. I believe that the first ideas does not matter what the idea is. It's all in who you're going to become. So I think about this a lot when people are like, you wrote your book before you started a podcast. And I talk a lot about how I had podcast equipment collecting dust for 5 years. Would it have been any different had I started the podcast first? It didn't matter, because the first thing I did is where I learned to work through my imposter syndrome. It's where I learned to build the resilience that I could be with quote unquote failing and doing something imperfectly and realizing, okay, I didn't die. Now I can keep moving forward. So this is the answer. If you're in the very, very beginning stages, which I know you're not newbie, brand new, is it actually doesn't matter. It's pick the thing you can go all in on and realize that it's not actually about the thing, the outcome of the thing you're doing. It's about who you're becoming in the process, because that version of you will have way more clarity. So that's like what I would say to someone who's really in the early stages. But then there's, of course, ways to evaluate from a monetary standpoint what makes the most sense.
So that's where I have is, for me in the different places where trust me, the ideas, it's painful. It's actually quite challenging, which is why now I love what I do just in the mastermind and with this other thing that we're launching, because I can give everyone else the ideas. Feels so good.
Yeah,
I'm like,
really, that is part of it.
I'm not constipated anymore. Truly, it feels great. I'm like,
Thanks to Glōci.
I'm supposed to be doing this, giving ideas to other people. So with that, throughout my career, it's been because there's been all the ideas, and I already kind of had the ideas that I needed to stick with. Do you know what I mean? Like I was kind of like, okay, all these ideas are coming in. Should I follow them? My husband is so linear, it's annoying, but it was good for me because I'm to the extreme other side. So if you're like me, you said 1,000,001 ideas, that sounds right on target for where I'm at.
Generator.
Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah. Yes. So what he did is he came in very annoyingly and said, he was like, what we need to do right now is get the idea that is supporting us the most, to create that idea, to make sure that it has enough money to support the future ideas without having to keep going back and forth from idea to idea because one is not fully supporting us. Does that make sense? So what happened for me was I would say to him, I owned a gym and I did personal training and also did online training. And I wanted to go full into network marketing because I was seeing the money that we could make with that. And he's like, that's awesome that you have this idea. And after network marketing, I had another idea of personal development. And I was pitching this idea to him because I wanted to close my gym down that week. Let's be honest, like truly, I was like, this needs to be done. I'm over it. Like I was so done. Anybody done with an idea, but you're like, when you kind of decided you were done, so you were done. Okay. Anyway, so he was like, you're not going to be done with it till the other idea that you have, you start it, but it has to hit a certain income that's going to make up for this one. And he's like, till it's like fully where you want it to be. I was so angry because I decided that day I was done. I had already quit in my head. Like we'd closed up shop. We're good to go. And I got so angry because I knew that he was right though. Like I knew that jumping into something in a not as supportive way and ending it so abruptly, I had a lot of lessons to learn on staying in an idea even long after a lot of the energy was out of it. Now, I don't believe that you'll always have to do that, but I do believe in a solid foundation of a business. Guys, we got to stay long after the energy's gone. And I think for idea people, that's the hardest part. And you just have to find who you are in that business. So in the future, what you can do when that has the money, you can find someone to stay in the parts you hate. But that's truly learning how to run a business. Is like, it's the mundane, it's the staying in the thing that you're done with, you're over already, until you get to the place where you can start businesses and say, I'm gonna hire this person and be done. Like that is hopefully what your future can look like if you're an idea person. But for now, your lesson is like, how do I stay in the one that I really loved to create enough income to feel really supportive? Because if you bounce, every time you guys pivot, every time, this can be this can be looked at as multitasking. Every time you bounce and pivot, the amount of energy that it takes to start something and pivot and change your wording and change what you're doing in your messaging, it's like, it's 10 times what it would have been to get re-excited about the thing that you're doing. And so the lesson for me was get re-excited about my studio, get re-excited about the clients that I was training, who I was like, if I listen to frickin' Nancy tell me one more thing about her husband and not have her leave, like I was gonna lose my marbles. And I had to get re-excited about, I didn't train a Nancy.
Sorry, Nancy.
Yes, sorry, Nance. I had to get re-excited about what that gym was doing for me. And so it was such a beautiful lesson in like digging my heels back in and getting really grateful for that and growing income in the other thing, that could like really support me. Otherwise I would have hopped and hopped. That's all I did.
Yeah, I don't think I've lost excitement. It's just there's just so much excitement for so many things and only so little time, and then there's just one of me, right? So it's like time is limited, and then trying to balance friendships with ideas, with all this white space. Like I so resonate of like, if I'm not working, I feel lazy, right? And that's like, there's so many ideas, like I could be capitalizing on this time to get closer to that point where I could bring the next thing in. So it's just like,
does it mix your messages right now? Like, I think a couple of the questions you can ask is, if I started this other thing, does it take away from the thing you're at right now?
Not necessarily. Okay. It's just like another project, another skill gap that I have, something else to go figure out that takes away time from, I'm definitely still stabilizing the first revenue source of my business. So I think that answer definitely resonated a lot.
I think that's your answer then. Yeah. Like it's those ideas, do you know what you say to them? They will be back and they will be evolved.
Yeah.
When they come back, they'll be even more evolved. So you can trust that.
It's like the speed though thing of like, especially in manifestation, right? They talk about, like, you have this idea, like, don't let it slip away because someone else is going to take it. Someone else is going to grab it. Right. And so it's like, oh, I want to make sure I get to do all these things, but time will come.
Totally. It's coming. I promise you. Okay. Otherwise it's just in the beginning, you're just like setting yourself up to like keep bouncing. Yeah. Because that's never going to end for you.
So true.
It's only going to become more. The more you learn about more business, the more it's going to be abundant. And so I think you're in your training process right now.
Okay, I love that. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
so good. I love that question.
Yeah,
so good. Okay, who is next? Yes, you want to pass it right back? In the beautiful chartreuse, my friend, you're looking gorgeous tonight.
Thank you. Okay, so happy to be here. I'm Julie Berman. I have a podcast called Women with Cool Jobs, and I interview women with cool jobs, and I also have women's workshops and events.
So good.
So I wanted to ask you what you were saying about not sort of sharing yourself with the world or not showing up because you were waiting to be fully formed. That was such, I don't know, something about that wording was like, wow. My question for you both is how, and especially at the beginning or like in the middle parts when you are building something or where you're rediscovering like what you want to do and who you are, how do you show up? Like, how have you been not fully formed and shown up anyways? And then also like, how do you be brave and courageous and still sort of share things from your heart and like show authentically who you are in that process?
Such a good question. I mean, so this is so good. I mean, this is part of why I felt really called to do like this documentary style content right now, because I am someone who, especially when I'm going through the really hard moments, all of last year, I mean, I was 0 dark 30. That was not the time to be sharing it. And there's I think we're entering into an era of content where people want to see real. So the more you are able to and willing to show people behind the curtain of a woman with a cool job, the more you're willing to just share your beautiful, authentic personality with us in the doing and in the building of it, I think it just helps people connect on such a deeper level. I feel that so clearly for all of us. To the degree that we're willing to be that vulnerable, where we invite people into like the micro moments that just aren't maybe social media ready. And this is hard for me too. Like I am someone who genuinely kind of just processes through things really fast and then has like a pretty polished version to bring to the world. ChatGPT read me the other day. I'm going to share all of this. Like I'm going to read actually what ChatGPT like told me on the podcast when I do this episode, but because it was like, it called me on it. It was like, you want to share the fully formed realization. It's harder for you to share it when it's in the moment. So practically, how does that happen? I think it's you know, in the moment that you have kind of like a vulnerable moment that you also know your community could resonate with. That's the moment where, and you'll feel it because you'll feel like this feels like kind of tingly to share. You pop your camera up and you do the Instagram story in that moment. Or you just record the video. You don't even have to post it in the moment. And you're like, ooh, that felt extra exposed to share that version of me. And again, even if it's just that we're recording that stuff for ourselves, the number one regret that I have, is that I did not capture more of the actual behind the scenes moments when I was building. I wish I had it. I wish I had it even just for me. So how can we all start doing that? Start to just on a daily basis, maybe even it's like a vlog of capturing like your thoughts and the thing that it could be a weekly basis, that the things that you really wrestled with that week. And maybe you're just capturing it for yourself, but maybe you're actually capturing something that will give the woman that you want to impact such a deep connection with you because you're the one who was willing to show that side of yourself. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for a lot of us. I think we kind of like swung one way where content in social media is very polished, and I love that. But imagine if we contrast that with more in the moment, and there's a resonance when something is like authentic and it's not polished and it's not planned. There's a different resonance to it. I think that's what people are craving. That's what people are going to lean into. So where are those opportunities? And I think it's just a conversation, a question we can all ask ourselves. And then it's, do you have the courage to share that version of yourself?
Yeah.
Does that resonate?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So good. Yeah, it's messy, guys. I feel like we want these answers like, oh, here's how you do it. I'm like, well, you go to bed sometimes really embarrassed about what you said. Like truly.
Literally.
Like I've gone to so many dinners where it's this weird dichotomy of, I don't know if my business is doing good because I'm new, but I have to also like brag about it so that they get excited about it. But then also, what if I say something dumb that I don't know and they're like, what are you even talking? Like it's such a crazy emotional roller coaster of mess. And so I think the biggest thing that I can look at through like going head first a lot, because I know we're all in here kind of going head first into everything, is the amount of times I've stepped off stage and gone, I can't believe I said that. And then going, it's okay, immediately. If you want to know how to do big things, like have grace with yourself so fast, don't let yourself think about it for more than like 2 minutes. Because, or I could leave tonight and be like, I can't, oh my God, is Lindsey mad at me? I can't believe I said she had a boyfriend when she didn't. Now people think, I'm serious. How do we spiral? Who spirals? Come on. Everybody
She'll
does
voice text
this.
me on the
I will
on the
voice
way
note
home.
her on
She
the
will.
way home.
Yeah.
And
I'm fine, just so you know.
I do know, because you did give me a look later and I was like, okay, we're good. But it's going, this is going to be so messy and so ugly, and you're going to feel embarrassed 20 times a day, maybe 50 times a day. You're going to go to dinners and feel dumb. You're going to go speak somewhere that you were so excited about, and you're going to think you bombed, and you might have bombed. It might be terrible. It might be a horrible event where you
This
actually
is a really uplifting talk.
This is like how it is though. And
It's so true.
You literally have to go let your head hit the pillow, say a prayer to God and say, please God, let me let go of this feeling, knowing that I followed, like I was obedient. I followed what you wanted me to do. I followed that call. I'm going to trust that everything that I said, even if it was so bad or cringeworthy, or if I offended that girl in the audience because I didn't get to say hi, or she seemed really pissed at me, that was the lesson she was meant to learn. And I did what I needed to do. Like you guys, you put on events like this, or you start going bigger, they're going to get upset. You're going to trigger them. You will actually become their enemy for a moment. And that's going to be your worst nightmare. And it's going to be your worst nightmare to fail people. It's going to be your worst nightmare to not be good on stage. All of that's going to come true. And the point of, if you're going to make it through or not and be successful and start to like really love who you are and let it be okay, is if you say it's messy and say a prayer to God and say, I don't want to think about it anymore. Take it from me. I have to trust that it was okay. I'll make it right if I need to, but for tonight I'm going to sleep. And this is what it looks like. And that's the path every single day, you guys. I wish I could tell you it looked better than that, but it's literally just that every single day. Oh my God, did that post offend someone? Am I okay? Did I just offend someone? There's so much of that on a daily basis, but my comeback, like I just go through it like this. Nope, maybe that's their lesson. Nope, I know what my intention was. Nope, oh, if I didn't get back to that, maybe they actually really needed for me to not get back to it and sit with whatever that is that they needed so badly from me, right? So I think that the journey it's not linear. I think it's messy. I think that's the stuff that's gonna make you like the best version of yourself on planet Earth when it's happening and you get through to the other side.
Yeah. I guarantee that any post or podcast that has impacted someone in the room the most is something that we overthought because it was a little bit more emotional or a little bit more vulnerable than we would have normally shared. So like let yourself show that version. Every time it happens, someone will message and be like, that was what I needed to hear. And if it was just for that one person, it was worth it.
Totally.
Yeah. I love that question.
Well, friends.
One more or no? Is that it?
I think that's
Is that a wrap?
Yeah.
I think we have one more.
We got one more.
Final question.
I think it's going to be a good one, so hopefully we can all
I like
buckle
this.
in.
I like your confidence.
I like how she puts pressure on herself. Let's do this. Let's put money down. I'm just kidding.
My name's Jessica London. I own Your Postpartum PT. We help women and mothers online through wellness coaching, pregnancy, birth prep, postpartum recovery, and rehab, and helping them rebuild strength and confidence in motherhood. I also am launching a podcast called What About Mom on Mother's Day.
Congratulations.
So my question is, because you're both podcast hosts, what do you wish that you knew when you first started, and what advice do you have?
So good.
What do I wish I knew? I went into it pretty blind, and I'm really grateful for that. What do I wish I knew? Here's what I did that I think was successful, because I gained success fairly quickly. So here's what I wish I could tell more people. I didn't necessarily care about big guests. I would focus on like one or two that I really wanted, but I really loved I loved the people that I resonated with. So I booked a lot of people that I resonated with. I did a good launch on the podcast, so I felt really good about that. Like I made a good plan, so I felt great about that. I think have a good plan. I think whenever you're at events or whenever you're at anything good, I think talking about your podcast is huge. And I think that knowing that the podcast was a long game for me, and I think that's the most important thing I could tell you, is it's not going to be a quick money-making thing. It's got to be for people who love that long form, and you view it as a way to make really beautiful relationships for other things that are probably going to generate a lot of income that you don't even know is going to come later. Like a lot of my investors came through podcasting. And a lot of our money has come through people who have listened to the podcast for years. They'll be like, I've listened for 7 years and now I'm investing in your $50,000 mastermind. Like that's the power of the long game of a podcast. And so if you would have told me that many years ago, if you do this for 7 years to have a mastermind fill easily, that's 50,000 people. I wouldn't say totally easily, but or $50,000 per person. Would you do it for 7 years straight, 3 times a week? I'd say absolutely. Yeah. And so that's what I would go back and tell myself is like, stay in it. Focus on conversations that you love, because if you love them, people are going to love them. And also know a lot of your conversations aren't going to feel that great to you, but they're still going to move people because you're showing up, and something in the show up is exactly what people need.
I love that so much. I mean, that's like what I would echo is what I wish that version of me who is just starting the podcast could have seen is the impact it would have.
Yeah.
It's like, there's just nothing better. I get messages on a daily basis from people. And if you send me a DM on Instagram, like I read it. I read every single one. And it just like still stops me in my tracks that just because I was willing to start and I was willing to put my voice out there and I was willing to stay consistent, even in the hardest of seasons, I've never missed a week. And it has blessed my life so much in return, but it's also become the best marketing channel for my business. And not everyone feels like that same love with podcasting, but it is the gift that keeps on giving. And I'm just so proud of myself for staying consistent. And I didn't look at any numbers, any metrics I still don't. I'm like, how are we doing, guys? My podcast team is here. They're like, you're doing pretty well. I'm like, cool, great. But it's because I do it because I love the connection with the community. I'm a yapper. I love to yap. But also it has become the biggest marketing channel for the business, hands down. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm so excited for you. And the podcast is called what? One more time? What About Mom? Give her a microphone. What About Mom launching Mother's Day 2025.
What About Mom launching Mother's Day 2025.
I love it.
I love
it. Here we go. Good. I miss this so much. Thank you for coming out tonight.
Oh,
I
thank
love
you guys
all
so much. This was like so
much.
special. I loved it.
And I can't wait to air these episodes.
I can't wait. Thank you guys.